And welcome to the Fantasy Boardroom, the premiere episode of the 4th season of this wonderful program. Now, it's great to be back, pumped to be back. Get right, viewers. Obviously, you've seen me show up on some shows over the course of the off season and love doing those, and we'll pop in 2 more of those, mostly on Fridays in all likelihood when I'm able to do it, but I'm definitely going to be part of that. However, happy to have the boardroom back in session. Tonight, we are not really doing a regular show. So the reason that I'm only now having the first episode of the season here on August 13th, usually starting in late June prior, but been a busy time in life, have a new puppy. That in particular has taken a lot of time and energy, and just life in general has been a lot. Haven't really been able to carve out the consistent time on a weekly basis to do this, but the season's fast approaching. Gotta be ready to do it now. So excited to be doing this for you. And tonight won't be a regular show because we're in the middle of the mock tournament of champions. That is right. I know many of you are already involved, have already drafted in previous weeks. Some of you may have already made the semifinals, the final rather. My apologies for stuttering here. Where we are at is because of everything going on in life, I haven't been able to really prepare a proper format. We have limited time. So normally I would do things like going through position groups, going through divisions, things like that. I figured tonight, following Tuesday's edition of the Mock Tournament of Champions, is a good way to just kind of get some player takes out there. Rankings will be posted very soon as well. Yeah, this is just a good way to get my initial thoughts out there and also have you follow along. And if you are participating in this draft, know that I am one of the graders. So you'll kind of get an idea of what I like to see when I'm taking a look at these mocks over the next couple of weeks. We're halfway through. We've already done the first 2 weeks. We're in week 3. We have next week, week 4. Tonight, when this week is 1 QB. We did Superflex last week, so excited to get going with that. And we've got some people in the house. Sorry, Phyllis, for not getting to the comments. What is up, Dylan? What is up, Rafi? Dude, I do need to get a gavel or something. I mean, I don't know. Water bottle just doesn't quite hit. Not going to bang my phone on the desk. Got this tumbler from work. Session, baby. Let's go. It looks like we're still waiting for some people to enter into the lobby here of tonight's mock. So I will share that screen as soon as we are able to get started. People keep dropping in and out. Guys, come on. Be ready. Let's go. Got a mock to do. We have a show to do. Let's have some fun. Well, let's see. I'm not in the draft, so it won't give me the chat or the players available, but that's okay. But I kind of enjoy doing these 1 QB redraft, just back to your roots, right? I mean, most of us, when we started playing fantasy, this is the way we were introduced, probably via Yahoo, ESPN, Family League, Work League, something simple like that. But it's always a format that I really, really enjoy. All right. We have officially gone underway. Josiah with CMC here at the first pick, kind of chalk. The first round is probably going to be a lot of chalk, so there's not going to be a whole lot of much in the way of views to give unless somebody takes somebody really out of order here. If somebody reaches big time for somebody who's not a first round player. And I'll be curious to see if any guys I like in the first find their way to the second here in this mock. And we're going to have our first auto at the second pick. This is, what?
Come on.
Yeah. Brutal. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek, chalk. I will say, though, I do love these receivers and like taking them early. I really don't hate taking a running back here because you can really get a couple of nice receivers here on the back end. Or if it looks like it's going receiver heavy, but you don't really know that, there's not in 1 QB, you're not going to see Taylor or Barkley really fall back here. In Superflex, you might, though. And we are approaching our second auto. Spitta, Mech. These guys are veterans in these drafts, too. This is highly disappointing. Highly.
Come on!
So we got Justin Jefferson. Simple enough. We did need somebody to fill a spot right before we got started, but now, yeah. I I don't really run these drafts. I don't really play with setting up mocks too often. So, but I do believe with Sleeper, in order to replace somebody, we have to stop the draft and completely replace. So I think we might be kind of hosed, at least for the moment. All right, so then we had Jefferson autoed, Bijan by Heat Override, Uno Gas taking Amon Ra St. Brown here at the 1.7, AJ Brown at the 1.8 by Big Corey, Nader with Jamar Chase at 9, and Puka Nakua at 10. All right, so finally I have something interesting that I can say here. Puka Nakua is not a first rounder in fantasy football this year. I understand the season that he had last year. I understand he is a very good player. I'm a big Puka fan. I wish he didn't get drafted by the Rams, but whatever. BYU fan, so I was really hoping to see him be successful here in the league. I just don't think he's going to see the same volume this upcoming season. And a big reason for that is the health of Cooper Kupp, who is currently healthy. He was not healthy for big chunks of last year. And I understand he'll have the trust of Stafford. Stafford can make 2 wide receiver ones. That said, to be a first rounder, I feel like you need to be a top 6 wide receiver, top 7. I'm not sure Puka's going to approach that, and I really think we're going to see a Cooper Kupp resurgence this year. So when we get to him, I'm likely going to view him as a big value. But Puka before Garrett Wilson, before Drake London, I cannot get on board with that. Not at all. And frankly, I would rather have Kupp. Kyron Williams, see, another Ram. This is another one that I have feelings about. 6th rounder, he's not a particularly great athlete, feasted on a ton of volume last year. Sean McVay does like to ride a horse, don't get me wrong. But they did draft Blake Corum. So it's a higher investment. I think Blake Corum is a better player in general. Now, has he been able to earn the trust of the Rams coaching staff? Obviously, Kyron's going to be the guy to start. I'm just not sure if he's going to hang on to it and see nearly the volume he did last year. I think he's got a real challenge and a real issue with who's competing for him in the backfield, or with him in the backfield. Did not have that issue last year. There was nobody that he had to fight with. So it was easy to give him, virtually 100% of the work. And Rafi makes another good point. Seymour, we might. I mean, it's very much a big part of the Shanahan-McVay offense. So we'll see. And with a guy like Corum, who is a more adept receiver than Williams, that could be the case. I certainly hope it is. So so those Rams I'm really not too high on, and I think Kupp is really being criminally underdrafted. So what did we miss here in the second round while I was ranting about the Rams and their very high price? JT and Barkley at the turn, I do kind of love that. Garrett Wilson, Drake London, love that. Harrison is in a fine spot. Gibbs, fine. I'm really not worried about the injury news yet. Or hamstring related, but we'll see. I feel like it would have been talked about in a more serious way if it was more serious, or at least more serious expectation. Pacheco there, a little high for me. A couple guys would rather have went after him. ETN, HN, I certainly would. Jacobs, I don't know. But I probably would wait until the 3rd round for Isaiah Pacheco, Josh Allen, going QB early. Given he could have gotten him on the way back, in theory here, I don't know that I love that either. I do like having an elite QB in one QB, don't get me wrong, but not in the 2nd round, not at that opportunity cost. ETN is fine, HN is fine, Evans, Olave that go along with CMC. That's not a bad wide receiver duo. Might have rather had Debo than Olave, but I'm not going to nitpick too much. And probably Debo than Evans. Debo over one of them. We'll say that. Sorry, bro. Give the shame to Meccan Smith. That's what I said. They're veterans. They've been here. It's disappointing. Very disappointing. These are guys I expect better from. And even worse, these guys are good drafters. It's unfortunate they will end up disqualified for this, but it is what it is. It's just a bummer for the rest of the participants and a bummer for them because they draft with giving themselves a great chance to win. You hate to see it. So yeah, Debo, Jacobs, DJ Moore. There's some interesting builds here. We're seeing Wilson and Ravens start to. We'll see if they continue to go 0 RB. Let's see what these round 4 picks are. Nope, not for Wilson. Cooper Kupp there at the end of the third. Absolutely love it. Hurts. I think that's a fine spot to take him there. Me personally, I'm more of a Lamar guy. I would rather have Lamar here. I think the Hurts rushing touchdowns take a little bit of a dip this year with Barkley in and also Jason Kelsey out. But Cooper Kupp there to go along with Taylor and Barkley. Hurts, that's a wonderful start, Mason. That's a tremendous start. A lot of teams are going to look good after 4 picks, but that looks really good. Kelsey is still my tight end 1, so I like seeing him drafted in front of Laporta. But I understand that was an auto, so it's a little bit difficult to evaluate. But I think Laporta is the consensus tight end 1 this year. I do not feel that way. Kelsey clearly still has it. He's still playing with Mahomes. There's not even there. I mean, he was leading even with Tyreek in tow a lot of the time, but there's still nobody near that level in the receiving core of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Travis Kelsey will continue to just feast with Patrick Mahomes as long as they both stay healthy. DJ Moore, I also love, and I actually like seeing him kind of climb up a bit. I think this is very appropriate for him, very good value for him. Jalen Waddle, great spot. Neighbors, appropriate spot. Nothing really too egregious so far outside of Allen, Kyron, and Puka. But DJ Moore is a guy I really like. So where is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Actually, no, I think he should be up a little bit higher. I mean, I'd rather have DJ Moore than Nico Collins, Chris Olave, or Mike Evans, if I'm being frank. Actually, I'd really like this turn more if you had gone Debo and DJ. That would have been really, really nice right there. However, another nice value that just hit the board, though, by Josiah, Mark Andrews. He's my tight end 2. Again, this is all based on health, but when he's healthy, he's just such a focal point in that offense and such an important, reliable figure for Lamar Jackson. And that is not really like Laporta is a nice player. Don't get me wrong. But they have Gibbs, they have Montgomery, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Laporta is not a central weapon of attack. Same thing with Trey McBride, although you can make a little bit more of a case for him. Really, only Marvin Harrison in his way as far as a pass catcher goes in Arizona. But Andrews is the guy. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's all a matter of health with him. So I love him to be the tight end 2 this season. So getting him at this pick 49 overall, that's pretty nice value. I still have the sounds of draft board. Is that a bad thing? People not like those? We'll get rid of them. I think it adds a nice ambiance. I mean, I need to get some background music going. I need to do something to make these shows a little more theatrical. Got to see if I can find. Or, we're in the boardroom. It's probably gonna have to be just some mellow classical. Put the audience to sleep. No. Alvin Kamara is, I think, a really, really nice target in what would normally be the dead zone of RBs. But if you are going to take a heavy start at other positions, like I would have really, again, unfortunately, Mex on auto, but I would really like to see that team take Kamara. That would have been very nice for him. It's nice for FaZe as well. He kind of tailed off a little bit right at the end of the season last season, but I wish I had more notes in front of me. Again, I'm so sorry. This is supposed to be a little bit easier to riff, but I like being able to give specific stats sometimes when I can't. But we'll do this instead. So Alvin Kamara, when he first came back last season, where is it? I mean, he was off to a torrid start. Derek Carr dumping off to him worked beautifully. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see if you were an Alvin Kamara owner. So he missed those first 3 games, but 21 points, and this is just standard, or not standard, but full PPR. 21.4 points, 18.7, 17.4, 29.3, 27, 11, and then 18.5, 15.9, 28.9. I mean, the guy was on an absolute tear, unfortunately, up until playoff weeks. It definitely was a top 5 running back in that span. So that's a guy that's still there, still going to get that same workload. If you've seen Dennis Allen talk about Kendra Miller. Jeez, I can't even talk. Kendra Miller. It's it hasn't been especially glowing. So while I'm high on Miller as a talent, I just can't wait for Allen to be out of there. So Kamara is a guy who's firmly in an RB1 discussion. Is the point? You can very much end up with an RB1 here in round 5. Very nice target, especially if you're right around that top pick turn, 1 through 4. Anthony Richardson is always an interesting one to talk about. I feel like he's pretty polarizing. Obviously, the fantasy upside, the rushing upside is tantalizing. He's still very raw as a thrower. He has had trouble staying healthy throughout his career, so it's something that based on what we briefly saw at the beginning of last season. I mean, you'll get production as long as he's able to stay on the field, but will he be able to do that? And will some of the negative aspects of his ability to throw the ball kind of catch up to him in some other ways? So where he's going, we're at what? QB 6? I don't hate it. I might rather take a stab at Kyler Murray, but I don't hate Richardson there. I mean, again, I get the appeal, and I'm all about taking home run swings at times. So, yeah, heat override. Let's go, man. So you're putting together. Diggs is the one questionable one. The pick that you have. Well, and Allen was a bit early, but I don't know. It's still looking like it might come out to be a pretty good looking team. We'll see how you shore up that running back position as this goes. So we get on the board. Cooper, Dell, Stevenson, Flowers, Jones, Higgins, Pickens. Again, nothing crazy here. No crazy takes to go with these. Aaron Jones. So if, as any of you who know me, DeAndre Swift is a favorite player of mine, a guy I pounded the drum for in his career. Big fan. I think he's going to do fantastic at Chicago this year. I'm in a draft, the Ambassador League, and I'm picking right in front of Rasa in the draft that's currently going on right now. I took Aaron Jones, and he was surprised that I took him over DeAndre Swift. Here's the thing. Jones, I know some people like Ty Chandler. The Vikings signed Jones to use him. Darnold is going to need him more than I think people expect. Aaron Jones very much still has it, however you want to say it. Still a very talented, explosive athlete. And he's going to get the most valuable work in a massive lion share of the work there in Minnesota. And then they're going to be playing catch up a lot. Scoring opportunities are going to be plentiful for him. DeAndre Swift, there's just a lot of mouths to feed in Chicago. I do think Swift will continue to be a wonderfully efficient player. He's still going to be really good. I love him as an RB2 on teams. I still think that's a fine draft area where he was taken here at the 6.4 and 1 QB. But they have Khalil Herbert. They have Roshan Johnson. I know they'll like to use them as well. And obviously most teams are a committee these days. Swift, I'd say optimistically, I think he'll get around 50% of the total work. And the reason that'll remain valuable is because he'll get the most important work, the receiving work, and he's the most explosive athlete of the group. He can break one anytime he touches the ball, and that's always an appealing asset of a player. Absolutely have to love when they can break one at any time. But Jones is just going to get so much more volume, I believe, and yeah, just not the same level of competition, period. Because even just within the offense itself, obviously they have Jefferson, they have Addison, but Hawkinson's going to miss a good amount of time. So there's going to be the third option most weeks. And if you're looking at Swift, I mean, they have those big 3 receivers right off the bat in DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett at tight end. Obviously, they'll be rotating in the other running backs. It's just hard to see a way that he can break away and really inch his way potentially into RB1 territory. That's something that is possible or feasible for Jones. He's gone through another big chunk of picks here, a couple rounds. Looks like there's one receiver I'm looking for. Oh, he did get taken. Okay, so Here's also why I like the start of somebody like Mason, where he's at, taking Taylor and Barkley, who I absolutely love this year in redraft. Getting somebody like Cup at the end of the third, but it's really what he did here. Deontay Johnson at the 8-1. Deontay Johnson, or even going up a couple rounds over here, you see Godwin and McLaurin go back to back. These are all guys that I think are going to have a big jump this year versus last year. They're in very good situations, and I think you're getting these guys at low wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 type prices, and these guys could easily ascend to be low end wide receiver 1s or high end wide receiver 2s. Not necessarily saying they will, but incredibly, incredibly easy to see. Deontay Johnson is truly going to have to be everything for Bryce Young. Chris Godwin in the second year with Baker, and also moving back to the slot, he's just going to be a reception machine. So in PPR or half PPR even, it's going to be wonderful. And McLaurin, I'm a big Jaden Daniels believer, so I think he's getting a big quarterback upgrade, and he's right in his prime. I love Scary Terry, man. Guy's such a stud. I'm happy he finally has a guy who's also going to be willing to take the chances and get him the ball downfield. It's going to be great. Hopefully, Cliff Kingsbury doesn't screw it up. It tends to start okay, but then everybody figures it out. But year one, I'm still totally in for this. We'll get back to some comments. Thank you for the support. He is saying, make sure if you're not watching on the Fantasy Boardroom channel, please come and subscribe on my channel as well. Look, we're going to take a brief interruption and say, yes, subscribe, like and subscribe, whether you're on the Fantasy Boardroom channel or on Get Right's channel. Please like and subscribe. We need all the support we can get. Honestly, more important for the Get Right channel. It's the collective effort. It's the group. It's the team. That's what we care about. Football's a team game. Get Right is a team effort. We do have our fearless leader here, Mr. Anthony, a.k.a. Rasta, but we're a great group. Love all the guys and want everybody to thrive. Want all of you guys to thrive, and we can help you more if you just like and subscribe to us. That's all. Rafa jumping again. Darnold will target JJ. I mean, I see a lot of that, yeah. A lot of JJ and AJ. Mix in a little Addison, Hawk a little bit when he's back, but yeah, Darnold's going to really lean on his favorites, I believe. Pick 10 in the house. And yeah, all right, Ravens. Well, let's see here. I don't like the Puka pick at all. That was kind of what was the jumping off point of the show. I mean, he's still going to be okay. I just don't think he's going to be able to pay off, give you that ROI there at the 110 position. I would have much rather had Wilson, London, Harrison, Devontae, Ayuk, Debo, DJ Moore, Chris Olave. I mean, Puka Nacua was like a late third round, early fourth rounder to me this year. I swapped him and Cup almost. I mean, I don't know if I would take Cup in the first round, but that's more where I'm at with that. Marvin Harrison, I do like that pick. Neighbors, I mean, it's a little reliant on rookies, but I very much believe in their studs. Neighbors, it's a little early for me in redraft just because I'm fearful of Daniel Jones. I still think Neighbors will produce in the season, but I do think there's going to be a cap on how high that ceiling is because of his quarterback play. Love the Lamar pick. I'm always a big Lamar guy. Aaron Jones, nice pick, especially for a value or bargain RB1. Kyle Pitts pick, absolutely love it. A real quarterback finally in tow for him. Very, very excited for his potential ascension. I very much believe Addison was a fine pick there. I probably would have gone Deontay instead, but I'm very much okay with Addison. Zach Moss. Look, I like Chase Brown a bit more, especially almost 2 rounds later. I would have probably rather had Pollard or Warren or Brooks in that spot. I know Brooks won't really play to start the season, but I would be willing to try and hit another one on the way back and just, somebody like even Brian Robinson here would have still been available, or even Hubbard, just as you wait for it, for him to get there. Panicking Puka Wilson, I mean, it happens. It happens. Hey, well, if you were a late replacement, I do appreciate you filling in. We all do. Without having you guys here to do the draft, so what's even the point? So happy, and it saves the draft for everybody when we have a full room. Oh, you're welcome, Mason. Uno Gas, are you making? Well, I mean, here's the thing. And that's hard for me to say. If you watch, and Frank, even last night, they talked about this a bit. There's six different people grading here. We've got me, you've got Frank, you've got Anthony, you've got Kendall, you got Phil. What Dustin? There's we've, there's a lot of graders, and we're kind of breaking on a sliding scale here. We're not going to go into the full process, but there's six different opinions. We all view team building a little bit differently. We all have players we like a little bit differently. It's really kind of fascinating sometimes to go back and look at how we score it and compare who liked who. And I mean, there was one last week I had as my favorite team, and I think there were three of the other guys didn't even rank them as a top six, and it was my favorite of the group, and I thought it was flat, inarguable, not debatable, which is crazy and something that's subjective in fantasy football. But so I can't really say if you're making it. Now, are you going to get a score from me? Am I going to put you in my top six? There's still some rounds to go. It's hard to say, but I would say you have a very good chance because I like what you've put together. I wouldn't have done it quite in that order, but it kind of still came together nicely. We'll see how these final three rounds go, but I think you'll probably be in my top six. I have to give everything a full evaluation once it's all done, so I can't say for sure, but I'd say your chances are good to get a number from me. Moss will see a lot of action. Just going to be great for many. I guess we'll see. I think Burrow's going to throw it as much as ever. I'm not particularly excited about either running back. There is no other draft tonight, but there is another one tomorrow, another one Thursday. I don't have those rooms in front of me, so I don't know if there's currently space in those, but there was most of the day today, so there may be a chance for you to squeak into one of these two. Anthony, yeah, that's how I feel. My number one team isn't even usually top picks for at least two others. Yeah, fascinating. No, it is. I mean, look, I appreciate that there's 15 people here watching right now. For me, that's a lot of people. I truly can't thank all of you who are spending your time with me. Time is the one thing you can't buy, the one thing you can't replace. You're here spending, half an hour with me? We'll probably get to about 40, 45 minutes, by the end of this draft. That's amazing. And I encourage you guys, as you choose to spend your time with drafts, with analysts, however you're spending your time in consuming fantasy content, try to do it with people that jive. And I don't necessarily always mean agree with everything you say, but just follow a process or a logic that you can understand and appreciate. And again, not always agree. It'd be insane if any of us all agreed all the time, but just find people that kind of make sense to you, for lack of a better word, and that you can enjoy. Oh, we got the tournament link incoming. Thank you, Rafi, for doing so. Almost like a producer in the crowd. I greatly appreciate that. So here in the late rounds, this is where in Superflex there's a little bit more in the way of interesting options. In the 11th round and later, it's a bit thinner when it comes to one quarterback, but that's okay. We're starting to get into some, wide receiver fives, running back fours. So I'd say here in these late rounds, guys that I look to see. So if you need somebody who might need to hit a home run for you, like Ravens here, Trey Benson, I'm still mixed on how much I believe, but if something happens to Connor, opportunity is sky high here for Benson. That's the kind of guy you need to take when even that RB2 position is a little shaky, and you might need somebody who can hit a home run. It's just a shot at upside. That's what I like to see when you're in that kind of build. When let's see here. See, this is a bit safer. Gibbs and Stevenson, very solid running back room. I like that a lot, right? Javonte Williams is probably going to be the lead of the committee there in Denver. That's certainly how I view it. So it's probably not going to be a home run swing, but a really solid guy you can plug when you need to, just a reliable backup. Same kind of thing with Spears. Charbonnet is a little bit more of a swing if something happens to Walker. Could pay off in a pretty nice way. But that's a good way to approach it when you have already a solid setup there. So I like that. Same kind of thing here. Gus Ulrich, probably limited ceiling, but decent, reliable backup production when you already have a Warren, Henry, Pacheco room. But guys here, yeah, in the 10th or later, really. See, this is a little too early. So 10th or yeah, Benson, uh, Cora might like mostly because I think he could usurp Kyron at some point. Not saying he will, but it's very much on the table for me. Kendra Miller, again, this is another potential home run swing if something happens to Kamara, but it would absolutely take something happen to Kamara. There's zero upside as long as Kamara is healthy with him. Algier, it's interesting because you look back last year and you think of the atrocities committed by Arthur Smith in Atlanta and how much volume Algier got compared to Bijan Robinson. Now this is drafted by the Bijan drafter as well in heat override, so I guess that nice little handcuff there. But I really think it's going to be the Bijan show, so I wouldn't take Algier unless probably as a handcuff, frankly. So actually, I'm okay with that there. Jalen Wright is another one I like here, in this range. He's got two fragile players in front of him and is in one of the most run-friendly offenses in the entire league. Mostert, shockingly, has had a couple of pretty healthy seasons after being injured literally every single season prior in his career. And Achan got injured, I think it was 6 or 7 different injuries last year as he navigated through. He's just a smaller guy. He's an insanely explosive player, and he can take one to the house anytime. But man, it's hard to not try to account for the risk that the two running backs in front of Wright face. And should he get any meaningful volume, he'll be in a really nice spot for that. And I think he is just a good enough athlete to be able to be taken advantage of by that Dolphins coaching staff, McDaniel. Kamani Vidal here. So people probably aren't as neurotic as me are following every team's news very, very closely. But Kamani Vidal probably looking like he may not even make the 53-man roster there, so he is probably not the player that I would have looked to take there, but at least he has the corn pick to save that. Marshawn Lloyd, I had been really high, and I still am long-term, but this season, he's already dealt with a couple of different injuries. The only thing that I think helps him is if he does get back to health relatively quickly. A.J. Dillon really just isn't that good, so that's going to provide opportunity for him. I think he might be the best athlete in that backfield, including Jacobs. Obviously, Jacobs is going to be, he just got paid. He's going to be the lead back at the very beginning, no doubt. But Lloyd's just a stud player. Fumbling issues, though, so I'm a little worried about that, keeping him on the field. Think about Rojo, another USC pack that's had fumbling issues. And he got his career really railroaded by Bruce Arians, and hopefully Matt LaFleur can see the value of Marshawn Lloyd. But this year, it's probably limited, but I still like the swing in the 13th round. That's a guy I can get behind. As far as receivers go, Mike Williams might be my favorite 11th plus round target here. Just another guy that's fully health dependent. I know he's coming off an ACL and is going to be playing with a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear in Aaron Rodgers, but I still think Aaron Rodgers has it in his arm. So as long as these guys are on the field, you can't throw to Garrett Wilson every play, regrettably. Some of this is going to go to Big Mike, and he can make things happen. I believe he was the wide receiver 10 in points per game before he went down last year. So he can still play, man. And we'll find out real quick if he can't, if that ACL is really hampered him and he looks dead, OBJ-like or something. But there's a ton of upside there. I think Jacoby Myers, who went right behind him, is still a nice target. I know that some worry about the QBs there, but guess what? He was, wide receiver 24 last year in PPR with that same QB play, and part of that being Jimmy G. So if he's able to be a wide receiver 2, I would happily take that. And I don't think it's going to be wide receiver 2, probably more like wide receiver 3-ish, but or very low end there on as far as that goes. But even still, the 11th round, That's free money, man. Certainly compared to guys like Mitchell, Palmer, Baguette. I, I don't think there's much there with those guys. So obviously, you're kind of taking shots no matter what here in the late rounds. But I think there's guys that are better bets. And one of those guys is the guy that's proven that he can put up good numbers even with mediocre QB play, as he just did on the same team, same system last year in Jacoby Myers and Mike Williams, who's consistently been able to put up big numbers when he's been healthy. That's the risk. And if he gets hurt, it was an 11th round pick. You'll be able to find somebody to replace him. It's fine. It's fine. So those are just, a lot of the off-the-cuff player takes as they went off the board here. I'm going to get myself a little more organized for the rest of the preseason weeks, but I just wanted to get back in front of the camera, wanted to get back into the boardroom, wanted to be part of our newly set Get Right schedule. We've got content for you coming every day of the week. Once we get into the actual season, that'll include weekends, but right now, Monday through Friday, every single day right here on Get Right. We have so much for you. Got the Fantasy Football Tavern. We've got Get Right with the boys, Frank and Ant, and then also Mike. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. God, it's just so much. And of course, Fantasy Boardroom. So, but I just wanted to really get back in front of the camera. I was really excited to. I gotta get out of this. We're done with that. It's distracting me. I just want to be back in front of the camera, back in front of you guys. Just get back talking fantasy, talking ball, and get back to some level of consistency. So in years past, the Fantasy Boardroom has always been a Wednesday evening program. Now we're going to move to Tuesdays. We already have Wednesday content. It's probably a little easier for me to move to Tuesdays anyways. I liked waiting till Wednesdays previously just to let a little more information flow and talk more about the upcoming week than too much reflection on the prior week, but we'll be able to still have a nice blend. We'll see specifically how the format goes this upcoming season. There's still a couple things being tossed around in the brain here, but just so sorry for any informality. Just wanted to go off the cuff, talk some ball. I've been slacking on comments too. Could have went another way. No, I feel you, but I think Algier was a good pick there. It still worked. The handcuff was a good one. Of course, give you all the love. Dylan, results from last night coming soon. Oh, we had Dylan asking about any updates on last night's mock, so we'll get there. Don't you worry. All right, have a good night with the wife. That's important. That's what I'll be doing here in just a couple minutes, going and hanging out with the wife. Very important. Family time's very important. Do not neglect your families, guys. I can't stress that enough. And yes, sir, live in season, 7 days a week. That includes Saturday and Sunday. We will have something for you on Get Right every single day. So that's why it's so important to be subscribed. Subscribe. Right there. That's why. Actually, I don't think there's a link in our banner here, but still, that's where you want to be. You want to hit that subscribe button and and just be ready to win your leagues. That's what we're here for. I think even though, as we talked about with the grading of the drafts, we got 6 different opinions, 6 different thought processes, logic, all that. We're all understanding different ways to win. We're going to help guide you to that. Oh, shoot. I almost totally forgot because it's been so long. See, I've been slacking so long. It's already been multiple weeks since this draft. I'm usually already in season with the show anyway, so I'm talking about it. I mean, we got Scott Fishbowl going on. That's been talked about on the main show with Mike before, but I'm now post-draft, and I got to say, also, we've got our Get Right sponsor in Trophy Smack. And as I was there drafting for the Scott Fishbowl, I was the proud winner, not of the draft or of the tournament, obviously it hasn't happened yet, but of a raffle at least, and got this fantastic Scott Fishbowl championship ring. And also, we'll show you the sides and remind you, work hard, be a good person. Everything else will follow, including fantasy championships. Good karma will come your way with players, with health, things like that. Not 100% of the time, but you'll have better luck with that if you strive to be a better person. That was funny. Hey, you know what, Corey? That's just part of life. You can hear my dog barking in the other room a little bit too. At least one of them, because he doesn't know how to be quiet. That's just the part that's okay with them yelling at you. That's part of the fun. I like to think of it. When am I bringing out the pimp suit again? I'm going to be fully honest with you, Rafi. Bought those suits some time ago. I'm a man in his 30s that does not put in the proper time in the gym. And those slim fit suit jackets that I bought some time ago don't quite fit correctly right now. And I simultaneously have no shame and a lot of shame about that. Like, I don't care what you guys think about, but for me, just personally, individually, need to change that. But while I'm trying to work on that a little bit, I can't tell you exactly when I'm going to be back in season shape to make that happen. You know, if I showed up to training camp the way I was right now, I would have already been cut. Been like, "I get your ass out of here." So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. So we'll see when that's coming back, man. Use promo code Get Right when you order from Trophy Smack, baby. And I'm also going to give them another little bit of love, as I often do otherwise. Doing the draft there is so great. Such a great company. They have such great products. I mean, hopefully, with this particular camera, you're able to get a sense of how high quality that ring is. I think it's hefty. I think it's heavy as a But the belts are sick. The prints are sick. The draft boards are nice. They're fun. They have fun, like extra stickers, not just, the players. Just great vibe. Great people at that company. Really, really enjoy it. Matt, the owner in particular, stud. Just absolutely love the dude. They know how to throw a party. They know how to crank out great fantasy championship awards, whether it be trophies, whether it be belts, whether it be rings, whether it be chains. It's awesome. So if you have a need for any of that kind of stuff, and I'm sure you all do at some point, especially home league or important leagues, man, that's the spot. It's awesome. The ring is awesome. And yes, it would make a great league championship prize to pass around, especially if you have a league that is not all local people, not the home league, but you got people all across the country, maybe even the world, and you need to ship that thing. Hell of a lot easier to ship this, I don't know, 2.5 inch squared, maybe 3 inch squared box versus one of those hefty trophies. Maybe you can find a way to get it engraved on the inside, be able to keep track of the champions. It's been great being back here. I can't wait until we're truly in season. I'm upset at myself for not starting until August 13th because I know a lot of the people, especially people that follow me, I try to cater to everybody as much as possible, but not the most casual players. So players that may have already begun drafting. I haven't even put anything out there yet. And if I can't even be there for those people, what am I doing? But for any of the extra leagues that you still have, especially family, work, and more casual leagues where you like to wait as close as possible to the season, avoid injury news, things like that. At least I'll be here for you for that. And we've already got preseason underway, so we'll be able to mix in some of what we see there, particularly interesting probably when it comes to just play of the rookies and how they look to the eye test, not necessarily full results or anything like that. Certainly not learning anything about veteran players, but at least it's another resource to draw from. Just so damn pumped. I just need, and now I think we've gotten this puppy calmed down a little bit. He is getting acclimated to the house. We've had him for about 5-6 weeks. I can actually breathe a little bit at the end of the night and be able to start to put some stuff together. So can put together real shows, not just have to be like, hey, I want to be on there. Let's just throw up the mock and let's go. Just ready to do it, man. Ready to do it. I'm ready to help everybody with the whatever's left of draft season. I guess we still got almost a month, so maybe there's more than I think. Yeah, man, football is here. Football is here. And also, world football is here because the English Premier League starts on Friday. And if you are a sleeper user and you like soccer, football to the rest of the world, they are now doing English Premier League fantasy leagues. And I'm currently drafting one. Don't really know what to expect. As much as I enjoy the game, I've never really had enough friends that also enjoyed the sport to play in a league with, but we've been able to put something together. And we'll see how this goes. So yeah, football and football, all the footballs. That's what's going on. We're footballing. Rafi, my brother, it's great seeing Joe Burrow in your profile picture there again, too. For sure. Or is that Joe Burrow? I don't even know. It looks like Joe Burrow from here. Awesome show as usual. Appreciate you. I don't know how great it was again. A lot of just rambling. We're just following the mock, but just wanted to talk ball. Just wanted to give some bad, no, just kidding, some bad player takes, some horrible takes, lose everybody their leagues right here at the beginning of August. That's what football is all about. Please like and subscribe to the Get Right Fantasy channel. Please subscribe to the Fantasy Boardroom channel, and please comprehend and retain whatever the hell I said earlier to help guide you to championships. And also, don't be afraid to DM me on Twitter. I will never call it X, or on Sleeper. Same FF_tycoon handle for both. Thank you all again for spending your very, very valuable time with me. I look very forward to spending more of my time with you next Tuesday, possibly some of these Fridays. Who knows? I don't, but it'll be fun. All right. This session of the Fantasy Boardroom is adjourned.